Sound Radio. Broadcasting live from our studio in Nassau, the Bahamas. Hey, ignore the Bible, and it's like building your house on sand. Not such a good idea. TSR Radio.
Back to our very program this beautiful afternoon, and we are talking to a young man who has given tremendous contribution to of our country, Mr. Shane Gibson. Well, Shane, back. One of the things I would want to reiterate right now is your interests in politics. Initially, you said you were not really interested, but if we look over the history of your life in politics, you've made tremendous contribution and had some great fights in the House of Assembly that in my opinion, that you actually won and made a difference to the people of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
As you seek now to go back, what are some of the concerns that you would want to, at least, if God provides it, tackle to make the Bahamas greater?
Let me just say, first of all, before I get into that, let me say this, right? Is that when I first decided that I would take up the challenge of re-entering frontline politics, I did all that I thought was necessary to make the right people aware of my intention, so it wouldn't seem as though I'm doing anything to undermine the administration or the current member of parliament. And so I called them, I spoke with them, and I told them my interests. And I told him, I said, listen, if you intend to run, then I'm not going to submit my name. And so the only reason why I submitted my name was because at this point, he said he's not sure. And it looks as though he's not going to run. And I could tell you, if today he comes to me and say, Gibson, I decided I want to run on and Michael, then I'll back off. Because I am one of those persons who respect leadership, right? I don't disrespect leadership. I also met with the Prime Minister. I told him my intention. The Prime Minister said to me, Shane, I don't have a difficulty with you. You did it the right way. You were very respectful. And so he told me that we had a good conversation, right? And so it's only up to me now to do what is necessary to establish a good working relationship with the residents of the Michael constituency. When you look at Auckland, for instance, right, there is nothing happening with the economy there in Auckland, right? You got some people working for government, persons dealing with Cascarilla Bar, a couple small businesses, but when you look at the historical sites and the caves and the other sites that could actually bring tourists to Auckland and to cause the economy to be booming, it is not happening. And so we got the paved roads, which the previous governments did. We got the electricity running from end to end of the island. We have cable on the island. We have data on the island. But the thing is, we don't have that economic boom that could cause them to be almost self-sustaining. So a lot of people in Auckland are hurting. And so I want to go there and see how I can help to assist, not individuals personally, but to assist and turn the economy around to make it, give them a sustained, growing economy in Auckland. The same thing for Crooked Island. We have had a couple of projects that were supposed to be going on Crooked Island and things never happened. And so the economy is very slow down there. One time ago, Long Key had as many as 400 to 500 residents. Long Key is down to now maybe about 10 or 15. Right, residents there. And then, of course, you have Inagua, which you have Morton Salt, is sort of like a one-stop town, but you have ecotourism that could be very successful there. You got the flamingos, you get some other natural stuff down there that you could really tap into and cause some things happen. I'm trying to, the government spoke the other day about doing some stuff creating the Southern Bahamas Defense Force. And I'm happy to hear that they're now getting that point. We're now looking at putting more residents down there for a command center for the Defense Force, which would also help to do some stuff down there in the economy, bring more money, bring more activities down there on the island. So my idea is to try and transform the islands down there, do my part to make sure that at the end of the day, those islands are better off than they are right now, and they don't have to rely on so much assistance from New Providence and subventions from New Providence, right, and cross-subsidy of all the things that they need down there. They could actually provide those things for themselves.
Mr. Gibson, I get that. And I've got some ideas too that I tried to share with some of the former MPs down there. But one thing in talking about preparation for getting back there. Now, you didn't mention this person that you're going to church of God looking for. you did not mention what is her feeling as regard to your getting back in this thing. Now, I saw her during your hard times, and you know her and my wife have a very good relationship, and they talk. So tell me now, what is she saying about this, sir?
She supports me 100%. Let me tell you the unique thing about me and Michael, right? First of all, Jackie supports me 100%. As a matter of fact, even when I was saying I was done with politics, she was saying to me, Shane, I don't think you're done yet. Right? Because she was saying some things that I didn't see. I mean, I don't want to say she's more spiritual than I am, but she's more spiritual than I am, right? So she go a little deeper than me. She go not a little deeper. She go much deeper than I go. Or she go much deeper.
Prayer warrior.
Yes. Yeah. She go much deeper than I go. So anytime she tell me something, even when I don't see it, I believe it. Right? I just believe in faith. If she say it, and even though I can't see it, I believe it, because that's how in touch she is with what's happening. She knows me inside out, and so she supports me. And the unique thing is, she was born in Nassau, right? And she remained in Nassau until I think she was about 12 or 13, right? Her parents used to live down there. My mother's father, T.G. Glover, who the school is named after, he was born in Nassau, and I still got family down there in Nassau. Mummy was born in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, and Daddy was born in Masons Bay, Aucklands, right? And Daddy's father used to live in Long Key, so we got property in Long Key as well. So I have a relationship with all of the islands except Miguana, right? And but Miguana, I have a good relationship with them. But all of the islands, I have a family ties to all of the islands except Miguana, where I have some personal ties there.
Wow. Let me say this. Politics is certainly a unique venture. My concern, D. Shane, is this. Before one is elected, they could talk the sweet talk.
Right, that's what I said earlier. Absolutely.
They could walk the straight walk.
Yeah.
If they are elected, Mr. Gibson, seemingly the whole shebang changes.
I agree with you. I agree totally with you.
Now, I say this, and I want you to talk because I believe that elections and running of nation is a God thing. I honestly believe that. I believe God sees and hears the cries of those who are hurting, and he comes to their aid through men and women as instruments of goodwill to the communities. I speak this because we've just celebrated 1 year of the PLP in power. In my instance, I think Brave Davis, our prime minister, is a godsend for this time. I believe that his heart is good, is pure. He has a mindset that he wants to make the Bahamas great. But my honest opinion, Shane, I feel that as great as a man as our prime minister is, he has too many people around him who are not listening to him. Not listening. And it's making him not looking as he should look as the prime minister of this country. And I am saying, you, sir, I could recall when you were with Christie, Prime Minister Christie, you were a very outspoken, direct, and a great contributor to the PLP party, without a doubt. Now, my concern is, how could we get parliamentarians to continue with the same kind of spirit trying to get in when they are actually in?
Let me say this, right? Let me say this. There are a number of ways that you could become a good member of parliament. You could either have it or you don't have it, right? And when you have it, you continue to build on it. You could not have it, and you could say, listen, man, I recognize I don't have it, but I know of a man who was able to win 3 consecutive elections, right? I'm going to sit with him and talk to him and try to see how much I can learn to make sure that I'm able to follow in his footsteps, right? Or you could take a position and listen, man, I'm now elected. I'm going to have to just learn by trial and error. I'm not going to listen to anybody because I'm elected now. I'm going to do what I want to do, whether it's right or wrong. I'm going to do it. I don't think the learning curve is that great, right? In terms of how much time persons have to show to the community what it is they can do. And so I think the mistake that many parliamentarians make is they don't listen to the voice of wisdom, and they don't try to tap into experience. When I first decided to run for parliament, I sat with Mr. Clement and all the long-serving members of parliament to get their views on how they lasted so long representing persons throughout the Bahamas in politics. And I was able to take that and use that as a springboard for me to be the kind of member of parliament I needed to be in order to survive. That's why I last 3 terms. If you notice, most members of parliament now, they one and done. They one and done. Because they're not taking advantage of opportunities to sit with those. If I want to learn how to win a second time, I'm not going to sit with somebody who only win one time. Why would I sit with him? At the first meeting I would have is with persons who won more than once because they know how to do it. Today, let me tell you something. It is such a good feeling as you move throughout the Bahamas, throughout the communities, where people would walk up to you and they would give you experiences they had when they interacted with you. And I'm telling you, 99% of the times I don't remember it because it wasn't really important to me. The only thing that was important to me was helping people. And as I helped them, it was significant enough for them to remember. And when they come back, they tell you, Mr. Gibson, you remember this? I was walking on Parliament Street one day and I stopped and I said I needed a house. And you sent me their secretary. And now in my house today. You know how that make you feel?
Yes.
Now for me, that was only not at the office. But for them, that was extremely significant.
Yes.
But the thing about members of parliament now, some of them, is they get too big for themselves. And they don't understand it is not about them. It is about the people they represent. And even if you don't represent them, if they're Bahamian and they come to you for something, you could help them, you help them. Don't tell them, I can't help you because you don't live in my area, go to the next person. No. You're elected to help everybody. Everybody, no matter which political party they're from, no matter which constituency they live in, everybody you could help you help. Because guess what? There will come a day when you can't help anymore. And the worst feeling in the world is to look back and reflect and say, boy, you know what? I had an opportunity to do more and I didn't. That's not a good feeling. So time no waiting on anybody. Every time you have an opportunity to help somebody, you help them. Looking for nothing in return.
Very good.
Good stuff. Mr. Gibson, before I get into the what does D for, man? Now you're D Shane
David,
Gibson.
David killed Goliath.
Yeah.
Look here. Why you think the Lord continue to help me win these battles? This is David. This is David. And every Goliath I come up against, I will conquer them.
Yeah, if you listen, that is good. That I think that whenever you launch this campaign again, that would be something good to let them know that the D in Shane is now back. The D in the Gibson is now back. Let me just continue on with that. I want to ask you something. Take you back a little bit before we get back into this thing, because my problem with the MPs for the Michael constituency over the years. Once that name was changed to take in those, was that 4 islands? The Michael?
Yeah, five islands.
5 islands.
Yeah.
Is that we normally had an MP from the area who was only concerned with his island. It never seemed to be the way it was planned. But for example, as good an MP as our brother Vernon was, he was a Inagua fellow.
Right.
And he looked out for Inagua. You get to see that. And then all of the MPs seem to take care of their islands. Now, how does D. Shane get to? Now, you've given us the list and your connection with everybody except Meguana.
Right. So, right. I have personal connections to Meguana, though. I don't have family connections there, but I got personal connections there. Yeah, but my thing is like this, right? And anybody who had an opportunity to interact with you will tell you, right? I don't discriminate based on where you're from, who you are, what your name is, which political party you support. I don't do that. Right? I don't do that. And that's the difference between me and a lot of persons. A lot of persons wouldn't have the nerve to make themselves available this early because they don't want to have the burden of trying to represent people longer than they have to. You get that? And so they come at the 11th hour because they want to be able to say, man, it's too late. I can't do it now, but when I get there, I can do it. You saw what I did? I announced 4 years before, which means I get time to prove to you. I don't want to come and fool you and come like a wolf in sheep clothing to make you believe that I am something that I am not. I want to give you time to get to know me to get to know you, and for you to prove and allow me to prove myself to you over the next 4 years before election. So you'll know when election comes, there's no question, this is the man who will represent me well. And I think that's what we need to do in the future. Let persons who want to run, let themselves be known early. Announce it early. So you can be put to the test. Don't ask me to put you to the test after I elect you. Let me put you to the test before I elect you. Because I can tell you, some of them, it's like the air they breathe is different after election day. That air is different. They breathe one air before election, and right after election is another air they breathe. Like they get amnesia. They forget everything they say they do.
Dr. Mcphee encourage you with that.
Yeah. Let me take this. Yeah. I have a problem in terms of governments who, in my opinion, are not focused on bringing a nation to a level of maintaining consistent growth. We're now in a very serious dilemma in this country. One term and go. That seems to be the lifestyle now of the political agenda in our country. And it's difficult, Mr. Shane Gibson, to have success in one term and go. Because by the time the politicians really get to start moving, and I like what you said a little while ago, if you start working ahead of time, you'll have a little more time to do something and to prove some things. But basically, the reason I see why we're having this one term and go is while we are campaigning, we got all of these guys around us. And the majority of the people who are around the expecting new politician, the new member of parliament, are the grassroots. And the grassroots. They're the ones who ringing the cowbell on the truck. They're the ones who walking with you daily through the day. They're the ones who picking up the paper. They're the ones who keeping your name out there. But you know what happens? Once the party wins, they become the minority in so many ways that they feel desecrated and very, very hurt. We hear the first set of news come out, this one going to Europe to be consulting here, do this, do that, do that, do that. But the poor man who really worked all day and all night is the last to get a piece of bread and sometimes never gets a piece of bread. Whatever's going on in this country, go back to those grassroots people who, which when you wake up in the morning, they sitting outside your door. When you say, let's go, they running with you. Now, the big shots who sitting in their big time office doing all the PLP back in power, I could be ambassador. I could be this. But it's those grassroots who cost you to get there. And you must not forget them. And that's something I am very, very serious about. We left out the people who worked with us, stayed with us, slept with us, and that when the big picture comes, we forget about them.
Yeah. Yeah, but I tell you what, right? It is always interesting after any election, right? And along the lines what you saying, Dr. Mcphee, it's always interesting when you look at the faces all the faces of the party before and the faces afterwards. They're always different. they for the most part, they're different, and that is absolutely not right. And that is why I say you identify what you want to do, you identify it early. You develop a relationship, the people feel comfortable with you, and they know that this is a long-term relationship. But it's those overnight, right? My father-in-law used to say all the time, anything that's quick ain't good. Like microwave food, like microwave relationship, right? You develop it quick. Just as quick as you develop it, that's how quick you lose it. right? But those relationships that are sustained and develop over a period of time, they're more difficult to lose. You don't just do away with them because they're well grounded. But those super hot, super quick, they don't last. They don't last.
Mr. Gibson, I want to throw this out to you. So sorry we didn't get to this earlier, but in your early days, you were known for sports.
Yeah.
Rich man sports. I can remember the Lions, man. Y'all was some bad dude.
Oh, yeah.
And them were the hardest fellas. Now, somewhere along the line, you lost your clubs.
No. I up to this day. Up to this day, I still play 4 times a week. Up to this day, 4 times a week.
Who you beat?
I beat anybody I play with. Whoever I play with get beat. Whoever I play with get beat. Listen to me. When I went to St. Augustine's College in North Carolina in 1979, January 1979, I went on a golf scholarship.
Yes.
I went on a golf scholarship.
You were bad.
Yeah. And the day, yeah. I'm still playing.
I wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Is because as close as I am to sports, I've not heard anyone from Michael among the elite and our young and upcoming athletes. So as a sport-minded person, I guess we'll get to hear what happened at the Bahamas game. But I know now that you would know that you're going to make the Bahamas games, but the Michael team, the Bahamas game, represent. But they got to be runners in Auckland.
No. They've had some athletes. Don't forget too now. And Nago is known for good softball as well. All that in them, you know. Yes. And Nago was a softball mecca.
Yeah, I remember Eddie, but the draft helped them. Eddie is a sock fella, so I
not just thing out, man.
But you know, it is what it is, brother. It is what it is. But I'm saying,
I used to beat sack so bad. Man. They don't stop.
That we can have a prayer meeting right here, right now. But I'm saying that would be something real good to have coming out of my car. You know, I said the same thing for a couple of our islands. The Prime Minister's constituency. And the only thing that they got, of course, it would have been Shawnee, but Shawnee really from Nassau. And so we need to get these people. We need to know what is there.
Yeah, but the only way you'll know is you have to create opportunities that allow us to showcase the talent that is there. You have to create those opportunities.
So I'm saying, sports-minded person like yourself.
Listen, I don't want to say this, right, because I don't want anybody to interfere. You know how politics go, right? Yeah. Like, let me tell you this, right? So when I started visiting the islands a couple of weeks ago, as I went from island to island, and then I started calling as well, I noticed that more than 75% of the basketball rims and the basketball nets and the basketball backboards are down. I said, well, how do these kids play basketball? Right? They have nowhere to play. So what do you think I did? I ordered replacement backboards, nets, and rims for all of the basketball courts throughout my college.
Oh, trouble.
You understand what I'm saying? And those things will be there. I already ordered them. They're supposed to be in Nassau, hopefully by next week. And then I'll have them send to all islands. See, I don't want to talk everything I'm doing, right? You don't talk everything, you know. So that's the furthest I go with that. Some other things I'm doing as well, and that's why I tell you, you have to show people what you could do. Don't tell them. Show them.
Shane, let me say this: I have one of the greatest respect for the present Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture right now.
Oh, that's a different person altogether. Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm a Mcphee, so I don't back down. He's one of, if not the hardest member of Parliament working in the Bahamas today. He got to be. He's a man of heart. Now, when I hear you say what you said just now, you just want me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you just want.
Yeah.
Easy to get.
I'm yeah. Yeah, but stay doing some other big announcements too, though, because as I go through and I see the needs of the people in general, those are things I'll be addressing. Because there are some things you could do from the private sector that you don't need government to do. You can't sit down and wait on government to do everything, right? You use your influence to get things done, and that's what you'll see happening in my car over the next couple of months.
The government cannot do everything. We got to make this a cooperative thing to make the Bahamas great. But what you just said a little while ago, it really touched me, because if more people who have substance will reach out to the Bahama Games next year in our 50th celebration, all right? Don't wait till May or February or to start talking about some things. We need to make sure that our country is in trouble because our young people have not seen the kind of vision that they should have been seeing, so that they can tie into making Bahamas great with true leadership. That's what leadership.
And see, Dr. Mcphee, let me say this too, right? As somebody who grew up in sports, right? Because Daddy took us on a golf course from we were like about 6 or 7 years old. And so it did more than teaching you how to play golf. It taught you discipline, right? And if you could find one area of your life that you become disciplined in, other areas become almost automatic, right? And so when you look at basketball, for instance, and those courses in the Family Islands, people may not grow up to be great basketball players, but they may end up starting basketball, become disciplined in it, realize they're not good at that, but they're good at tennis or some other sport or track and field or something else. But once you're able to get into sports, that is a wide open arena. And then what you could achieve is limitless. But the thing is, you just need to get people. That's why I'm a believer in kids learning how to play musical instruments, and I'm a believer in kids learning how to play some type of sports, because those two things teach you discipline more than anything else. Sports and music.
Well, Doc, I think that's some good stuff right there. We got to close out now. And say thank you so much for.
Josey, we have 10 minutes.
10 more minutes?
We have 10 more. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna go start the countdown, but Josey, I'll come right back to you so you could do your closing remarks. But we got 10 minutes, and then we'll be finished. This has been a very inspirational.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
Very much so. And as we reflect on Shane Gibson coming back, initially I got a little concerned when you made the statement earlier. I said it's 1 year. Why would he do it in 1 year? But now you made it quite clear to me, and I think it is wise, a wise decision to let people know that you're not just jumping on the ship when the ship is in harbor. You jumping on the ship while the ship is tossing and rocking and rolling. And your dad was a skipper.
Absolutely.
Just like this Bahamas, and I'm saying this quite frankly right now, this Bahamas has not been very appreciative to King Eric Gibson when it comes to sailing. All this foolishness going on around here. King Eric, W.G. Mcphee, and all those other outstanding men who made sailing great, they were men who were fierce and not afraid. They brought sailing to the level. When I came sailing, I was about 10 or 11 years old. Dad used to take me to meeting with King Eric's place. And when we got there, King Eric would say, able to do some things, writing and all of that. But I was in QC, and he made me take notes. And when I finished, I prepared it, give it to King Eric, and King Eric said, all right, you got to read this. All right, I said, okay. But what they have not been, Shane, the Bahamas have not been fair to men like King Eric Gibson, W.G. Mcphee, Knowles in Long Island, Raleigh Gray got more contribution and all. But these men really made the Bahamas, united the Bahamas through the seas. Now, what I'm saying is, we must not allow this to happen again in our generation. Give these men and their family the recognition. They made tremendous sacrifice. That's why I just support you. And I saying it on this radio broadcast. I will give you the support. I will give you because I hear your heartbeat. And I know if your heart is right, you can make some changes in our nation and help our government of this state not to have one term, because men who are in the parliament will understand it's not about them. It's still about the people.
The people, yeah. Let me say this too, right? And why you're so right about what you're saying about sloop sailing and regattas. Daddy saw regattas as a means to create economic activities on all of these islands. And that is why he made it his mission to have a regatta on every single island of the Bahamas. Many times you say, listen, if it wasn't for regatta on onshore activities, some of these people wouldn't see this until these kind of days until Christmas. And even Christmas, they don't see these kind of days. He wanted to make sure that whatever opportunities existed for individuals to benefit economically, that regattas become the platform that allowed it to happen. So while he was there on the boat sailing, he was even more interested in those onshore activities to make sure that people get able to set up their booths and make their food and sell their goods and do whatever they need to do to generate income on those islands. And so that was his passion. That was something that you couldn't pay him to do. He didn't, when he went and offered his services in order to start Regattas Island, he never looked for any compensation. His compensation was seeing the joy on individuals' faces as persons came and bought and spend money at the regatta site and help people to make money, which sometimes is the only money they made for the entire year.
Well, we're just about ready to close down. My good co-host, you close up. You have 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then let Shane gives his closing remarks and bid us goodbye. Brother Josey.
Once again, I'm just so happy that we've had this opportunity to share with one proud young Bahamian. And based on what we heard from him today, we're looking forward to some great things. So we just pray that everybody enjoys a beautiful weekend. Tomorrow, some folk will be celebrating Thanksgiving, and just hope you don't eat too much. Remember, as we give God thanks.
Well, in my closing remarks, I want to thank you, Shane. And I say Shane not disrespectfully, but as a colleague.
No.
I want to thank you for coming, because you made some things quite clear to us. And I want to thank you for your contribution you made last week in Nassau. And as we didn't have an opportunity to say anything, but the Calvary Church is celebrating harvest on Sunday. So remember us when thou comest into thy kingdom.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mcphee. And thank you, Bishop Josey. It's really a pleasure for me to be here today sharing with you. And I look forward to great things happening here in the Bahamas and through both of you. Both of you are leaders in your own right, individuals that many Bahamians look up to. And so the church, I think, is important that they continue to take the lead role, because even when people look at politicians and they say that they're failing us, they never expect the church to fail us. And both of you have been doing a wonderful job in the area of religion.
Thank you so much. We want to say that this program that is coming over Trumpet Sound Network in the beautiful nation of Nassau, Bahamas, is an exclusive interview. We're the only person in the world who got Shane Gibson live and in color. And this will be coming over not only in terms of our radio, and we commend Nick for this opportunity of sharing it on his new broadcast station, radio station, and hopefully soon to be a TV station. But this is the first one with a politician. And Shane, you have made a historic event today and an informative, very impressive position on this broadcast. So God bless you, sir. And we want to thank Brother Nick Airburn for the Trumpet Sound Network in the Bahamas. And we pray those who will hear it when it broadcasts internationally will tune in on a regular basis. Josey and Mcphee will turn the world upside down. Thank you again, and God bless you.
Appreciate it. Okay.
TSR Radio is the perfect place for the family. Trumpet Sound Radio. Broadcasting live from our studio in Nassau, the Bahamas, and throughout the world. And now, another 55 minutes of the best in gospel music.